Fam, what is up with the squad? It's such favorite auntie and Uncle Tendencies in the building with Political Lil. Y'all know what it is. We are back with another episode of our Disruptor Series. Y'all, I had to come up here and talk about some powerful black women and black excellence before we get ready to get into this March Madness. I know y'all got basketball on the mind, but let's talk about some excellence. Let's talk about some excellence before we get into the madness of March for the day. Y'all know what it is. Welcome to the BeWise PoliSports Cess Talks Sports Podcast, where we break down politics, race, gender, and power struggles in sports. Today, y'all, we are diving into the legacy of the greatest sister act in sports history, a real sister act. You know what I mean? Venus and Serena Williams, their dominance in tennis is unmatched. But what we're talking about today isn't just trophies and titles. We're talking about the struggle, the racism, the sexism, and the straight up battles they fought to break into a world that didn't want them there. And of course, I got my folks, Political Lil, in the building with me. What's good, Lil? How you
All
feeling?
right. Hey, doing pretty good, feeling pretty good. Can't wait for the games to start.
Yeah,
Did you-
yeah, can't wait for the games to start. Okay, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Yes.
But I'm ready for this one because let's be real. Venus and Serena didn't play tennis. They disrupted the entire power structure in sports. And these
Exactly.
weren't, they weren't country club kids with elite coaches. They were two black girls from Compton who came out swinging. I mean, literally and politically. But they faced a lot of pushback on the way and a lot of media attacks
Yeah.
on their very persons. But if you look at them now, where they're standing as entrepreneur athletes, uh, it's just fascinating. But tennis was all the way lily white, and
Oh, all the way, for
so they
sure.
had to
Yeah.
come. They had to come in there, and luckily their parents prepared them to be strong mentally because they endured a lot.
You
Uh,
know, I also think, Lil, that and the reason why I wanted to talk about Venus and Serena, I know that they don't play basketball. I see y'all in the chat too. MJ, what's up? Not on location. We got some bets coming for y'all later on this afternoon. D Lee, what's good? I wanted to talk about them because I feel like they built individual brands, and that's something that we see in the women do nowadays, building individual brands. And we see some of the attacks, right? Some of these same microaggression, some of these same attacks that we're seeing in hoop now, we saw in tennis, right? Whether it was about their hairstyle, even down to Serena she make too much noise when she playing with the grunt. You know, like they were just they were criticized for everything from what they wore to how they
hmm
sounded to how they played to who they hung out with, and I see some of that same stuff going on in women's basketball as it's blowing up right now, right? And so I just
hmm
thought that they were a real sister act, like you said. I thought that these were two great icons to look at because they kind of paved the way and set a blueprint for how you balance the microaggressions and stuff that you deal with. And I thought that they did an excellent job, especially every time they were in front of the camera, of being unapologetically themselves. And I think
hmm
that's really difficult to do, especially in an individual sport, right? In an individual sport, when it's just you there, right? Versus when you're in a team. But I see that the women's basketball, as they're developing individual brands, they're challenged as teammates, as team players, I should say, and as individuals. Y'all get in the chat. Tell us what's your first memory of watching Venus and Serena play, and then y'all let me know what do y'all think is the impact that they had on black representation in tennis. Y'all talk back to me. Let's go. Let's take it back. Let's take it back, Lil. Y'all picture this, and for those of y'all that are really my nieces and nephews and not old enough to really remember this, we gonna tell y'all a story. Early '90s, country club tennis, right? This is a lily white sport, and here come Richard Williams, coaching his two daughters on cracked concrete courts in concrete on the cracked concrete courts of Compton, not concrete, y'all, concrete. It was rough out there in Compton, okay, Compton, California. It ain't no big name trainer out there. It ain't no fancy academies. This is a daddy with a vision and two girls. Uh, let them cook. Lil, tell them what they were up against.
Well, for one thing, tennis is an extremely expensive sport. When you think about the coaching, equipment, and travel, and black folks, they didn't have access like that. But Richard Williams was on a mission, and we had to be real about it. what he painted was crazy in the media, just for believing his daughters could dominate the sport. Meanwhile, white tennis parents were just seen as dedicated. That was a double standard in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. First of all, the nerve of him to be out. I think they said he was at the bar watching tennis on TV and
Yeah.
seeing somebody win 30,000. He was like, you know what? Let me go home and get me a daughter that can do just that. And he went home and made two.
Mm-hmm.
When you set your mind to something, when you got a dream. Okay, I ain't gonna get into that. Absolutely, but remember how the tennis world looked down on Venus when she first turned pro. She was in the Bay Area too. She was in the Bay when she turned in that first pro experience. They said she wasn't disciplined enough. Then Serena came in and said, "Oh, y'all don't like dominant black women. Watch this." Boom. The Williams era began. Venus was Serena was like, "I'm a winner." But let's talk about it, Lil.
Yeah, and then they were playing in a tournament called Indian Wales. This was in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the most racist moments in sports history. Serena couldn't make the finals well, Venus had to pull out due to injury.
Mm-hmm.
And white folks was like, they went ballistic. The crowd booed her for the entire match. Like she stole something. They were throwing racial slurs and ugly energy. It was just crazy. When the family came in to see the game, they got booed and talked all about, they were being accused of fixing the matches.
Yeah, because Serena and Venus were supposed to play. They were supposed to meet in the finals of Indian Wells. Venus gets hurt and pulls out late, very late, right? Later than the normal. And Venus, in her defense, I felt like was trying to see if she was gonna be able to give it a go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I gonna be able to give it a go? She went to the very last minute to see if she was gonna be able to go in there and had to pull out. And they were like, "Oh, the fix is in." They did this so that the baby sister could win, right? MJ, they accused the Williams sisters of faking injuries, throwing matches for each other, right? It was a prestigious event, right? And they got all this hate through at them, but they was like, all right. After, and I think Serena ended up winning, right? Did she win it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe she did win.
They was like, yeah, we're not coming back. We're not coming back. So for 14 years, they didn't even go back. They just wasn't playing the game. And Serena talked about it. Like, it was just too painful for everything that we went through. Like, somebody dang near beat pops up in the stand when he was coming in. He had to turn around and give him that. Who you talking to? What you said? Kind of action, right? So it just from the very beginning. But the racism continued. Lil, what? Give us some more history.
Yeah, they racism is a system. So, they're going to try different tactics to try to undermine what you're doing. So the next tactic was to start, policing them on the court, especially Serena. Oh, she too aggressive. She too emotional. Meanwhile, white players out there smashing rackets, cussing out the empires. And, of course, that's passion. And even in 2018 at the U.S. Open match when she was penalized, with the accusation that there was some coaching from the stands, but you had males out there, doing way more than that. But that's how it is in those when you get into those spaces and the fix is in to undermine you, then that's when the nitpicking, the microaggressions, all that gets ramped up. In the media and the commentators, they doing little sneaky jabs, squeezing in little shots at you, and so when you breaking into any power structure, you're gonna receive some pushback. But the problem comes in when you begin to dominate in spaces that were not designed for you. Then it becomes a organized assault and attack against you. And it just goes on and on and on. And they dealt with that most of their career.
Absolutely. Jeffrey, I see you in the chat. What's good? Doing well today, fam. We getting in some talk about the Williams sisters before we get into basketball. Yeah, you're right. MJ, John McEnroe, Azarenka. Y'all let me know. Do y'all think the media treated Serena and Venus differently from their from white counterparts? And how do you think Serena handled the backlash she faced over the years? Because we saw Serena snap sometimes too. Now, some of my favorite moments. Serena told that I will shove this ball down your throat. Remember? Yeah.
Mhm.
She was just so fed up. And is that any different than tantrums that John McEnroe became famous for? Right.
Right.
He was known for throwing the tantrum. He was known for getting in people's faces. Hingis.
That
Yeah.
was part of his brand.
Oh, they were exactly. Thank you. It became his brand. Him snapping became his brand. He was the first crash out tennis player I ever saw. He was the original crash out, right? Like let's call it, but let's call it what it is. Black women are held to a different standard in every space, and sports is no exception, right? Don't get me started on the way the media drag them talking about their bodies, their hair, their fashion, anything to tear them down. I don't remember if it was Venus or Serena. I think it was Venus. They got penalized for the beads coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, her beads fell out, and they was like, "That's your fault." And she was like, "I didn't make them fall out. I wasn't, it just happened. Hairstyle. Um. Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about how the media and the tennis world tried to come for Venus and Serena though from day one. They weren't just fighting opponents on the court; they were fighting biased narratives in the press.
Yeah, the media, they had a serious problem with these two black women dominating a sport that wasn't built for them. And the commentary was often straight up racist. Talking about Serena body like she wasn't feminine enough, calling them too masculine and too aggressive.
Let's not forget the way the commentators treated them. John McEnroe was like Serena wouldn't even rank in the men's game. Or when a reporter asked Venus if she was intimidated by a white opponent, as if she hadn't been whooping people for years. Or even that clip, and it was. I'm glad that it was one of the things that they highlighted in the movie, right? King Richard,
Mm.
when they asked her, I forget which player it was, and Serena was like, "I can beat her because I'm confident that I can." And the man asked her again, like, "Why do you think?" And Richard got up and was like, "Stop asking her that. What she gave you the first time was confidence. Now you trying to tear her down. Now you trying to have her second guess why she felt like." And it wasn't Chris Everett. I forget. It was a big name player, but she was like, "I beat her. I'll beat her because I know I can."
And see that confidence by the establishment.
Right. Why are you so
arrogant.
confident? Right, FM. That was the question. Why are you so confident? Because I am.
Yeah, but then they wanted to call them arrogant just because they knew they were great. And they, it was like the audacity of confidence. Meanwhile, you got white players with half their talent, putting out the same energy. But of course, that's fiery and passionate.
It's believing in yourself. That's believing in yourself. That's knowing that you can. That's little engine that could. And then for the black girl, it's like, how dare you? The audacity of you. Be a winner. Really? Really? Okay. And let's not forget about the umpires and the officiating. How many times did Serena get unfairly penalized for expressing normal emotions? Right? Meanwhile, male players smash their rackets, cuss at the refs. They get a slap on the wrist, or it's just, or just waved off, right? Looked over. Why do y'all think? Why do y'all think the media tries so hard to paint Venus and Serena as villains? Why did they need them to be villains, especially in a sport like tennis? It's just one on one, and it's one of the toughest sports that you can have out there. See, Leo, I don't know about you, but the one thing about basketball is when you go out there, it's 40 minutes. 40 minutes unless we go to a couple overtime. Tennis, I've seen them out there 4 or 5 hours. Just by themselves. Just running and hitting and running. That mentally, like how strong you have to be, right? To just compete until it's over. It's no tag team. It's nobody coming in. It's nobody there's nobody gonna give me a breather. It's me out here until it's not. Not confidence is for white people. I don't have time for y'all. AL 504. Not confidence is for white people. Facts. White reported was gaslighting 15-year-old Venus. Miss Williams put a stop to that shit. Yeah. Just a guy. If you think racism is just low key bad, this probably isn't the space for you. This probably is not the space for you. But do you think Venus and Serena's success changed how black parents view tennis as an option for their kids? No, I know
I
what you're saying. Al 504. I know what you're saying. I'm with you. This is for white people. That's a hell of a way to put it. Y'all let me know that. And how do y'all feel about the way Richard Williams was portrayed in the media? Cause see, little like Richard Williams. Who else? Joe Jackson. He another one. Joe Jackson. Too hard on his kids. Tyrant.
mm-hmm.
But look at the success. Whole family was a success. Whole family, all of them. Even Rebbie got a hit song. She can't sing or dance for real. Rebbie Jackson got a hit song right now, Centipede. Cause right? Seriously, now come on. For those of y'all that go back with me, that go back. Y'all know Rebbie wasn't originally in the Jackson 5 or none of that. But Rebbie got a hit too. Okay? Just Venus. The Jackson family. Who else? Just parents poured into them. You look at LeVar Ball. Look, Mr. Ball, yeah, look at LeVar Ball. And LeVar get on my nerves. But because of some of the stuff some of his tactics. But you can't take away from the way that he believes in his sons.
Yeah, even the guy that played for Memphis, his father poured into him.
Ja,
yeah. You know,
FM Centipede was not
a lot of Centipede was on the charts.
They go, FM say Centipede was the shit. Don't do that. Don't do that, FM. Oh, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Nah, I shouldn't even brought it up. But she had a video and everything. Don't sleep on Rebbie Jackson. Centipede. Don't sleep on her. Y'all check it out. Y'all for real. If you don't believe me, look it up. Okay, look it up. Yes, hashtag Rebbie Jackson. Don't do that, MJ. But seriously though, back to Venus and Serena. Game changers, right? They brought the power, right? They brought the power. They brought. I mean, you see, and it's funny today that you see players now that are not black that are grunting out there, that are pumping their fists. It's like, yeah, and it's like, look at that passion. And it's like that's the same thing Serena was doing 2 years ago that y'all said didn't belong in tennis. That's the kind of stuff that I want to be able to call out. That's the kind of stuff that's the microaggression. And those are the little seeds that they plant that do damage down the line. Those are the little things that they do that have young black girls thinking that they can't pump their fists, that they can't be passionate, that they can't be fiery. That's the kind of stuff that they try to take out of their game, right? That comes naturally just from the competitiveness of it. And I should say probably just women in general too, to a certain extent. Because it's like they don't even want to see women be competitive. Like they don't, do they get in fights in the locker room? Yes, they do. Do they be face to face, nose to nose, talking like John? Yes, they do, because they're that passionate. It's like just like the men, just like the men. Grunter Sharapova, Pop Hippo won. For real, MJ, get them out of my chat, please, sir. I see you. I think you might be the only wrench around here. They in here asking just inappropriate, dumb questions. But let's not forget, Venus was the one who fought for equal pay at Wimbledon, right? They don't talk about that enough either. Before 2007, men got paid more than the women, and I don't know if it was like 25 to 35% more, I think, than the women actually got paid. And Venus was like, not on my watch. She wrote that open letter and called them out, and then boom, it was equal prize money. Now, her and Serena did go take home all the money that year after she got the equal pay. You know, they was first and second. I think they won. I believe she did the open letter, made the speech at Wimbledon, and then I believe that year they played in the Wimbledon final and also won the doubles. I think they took all of the money, all the checks home. And people probably got tired of that, but I mean, beat them. That's what disrupting the system looks like. That's what disrupting the system look like. CeCe and Tom Brady crashing out is passion, and black people being passionate is aggression. It's ghetto. It's hood. It's they didn't have no home training. Look at them. They always choose violence. All of that, and it's nothing more than just being passionate about the game. And then they get a lot of pushback for speaking out, right?
It's just like, white folks love an athlete until the athlete starts talking about race and gender inequality. And Venus and Serena, they weren't just quiet champions. You know, they called out discrimination and they paid for it. You know, Serena especially, every time she spoke out, she got labeled angry and aggressive. Oh, she ungrateful. You know.
I got a question about this ungrateful. How am I gonna be ungrateful about something I earned? Right? Like you like ungrateful about something I earned. I never understood the concept of her being ungrateful for something that she worked so hard for. You don't think that she's great? You don't think that she's grateful? You don't think that she's appreciative? It was just weird to me that they would be so quick to be like, she's ungrateful for something that she worked for something that she's choosing to do.
No, it's not that. It's that they feel that, hey, this was our space and we're giving you an opportunity to come into the space. Forget you performed your way into the space. That don't count. You know, it's like, well, we're giving you a chance to play, and then you don't want to appreciate it, you know, because when we step on you, spit on you, and shit on you, you want to say something about it, you know. And,
exactly.
And this is the attitude, you know, that these some of these supporters and fans, and especially the establishment, have, because they always see you as some kind of commodity, some type of property. They never see you as a person, and this is why they don't come to just appreciate, you know, your you know, competitive spirit and passion for the game, and you know, the way you feel like, because you already got to work double hard. We already know that. You know, it's always doubly as hard, you know, to get into the space. And then when you get into the space, you just want to be treated because you want to play on a level playing field, you know, just for once. And every time it's got to be something. It's always a constant pushback because they don't want to have that dominance, because they want to keep that lie going that you inferior. You know, when and each time you show yourself to be superior and it dispels that myth, you know, then you get an angry backlash response.
Okay, let's be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know about y'all, but I was having a good time watching these young girls whoop up on these grown folks. I was enjoying it. I'm like, they 16, 17, 18, whooping on these 22, 24, 30-year-olds out here. Jennifer Capriati, you know, some of these folks. I remember, was that Capriati that shoulder bump Venus on the walk by? Somebody shoulder bump Venus on the changeover, and it was like, really, this is a young chick, you know. You never saw anybody say, let me take y'all in and be the mentor. Let me show y'all how. They always had to come with just their own. They were always they were invited to the party, but nobody was ever gonna ask them to dance. Right? They were never gonna be invited into the club. It was like they had to come with their own group and pack up and go home with their own group. They were never, you know, I guess that they have some relationships. They do talk about some relationships that they have with some of the players out there, but for the most part, like, you never seen them welcomed in. I mean, it was almost sometimes too, Lil. I'm just, since we just being honest, it's just me and you talking here. Sometimes I enjoy watching the announcers stumble over themselves trying to figure out what to say about these girls as they was out there just dominating, right? She's just, you know, for her, well, not, I mean, for her, I mean, you know, well, you know, they didn't even know what to say about her, right? They took Capriati out the game. Yes, they did. Capriati got a bunch of breaks versus the Williams sisters fighting uphill for years. Yeah, Capriati, and I always forget who that was that hit Serena with that ball. But she'll never lose to her. Nobody in Serena's lineage will ever lose to anybody in that family. She hit Serena with that ball, and that was it. Serena never lost to her again. I can't think of her name. MJ, please remind me. I ask you all the time. But it was just those little things.
Was that Sharapova?
Was it Sharapova?
I think it was.
I don't know if it was Sharapova. Sharapova was another one of the names that they always had up there as somebody that was going to take them down. And, you know, Maria Sharapova had the look, but she didn't necessarily have the game. You know, and I'm being honest. She had the look. It was Sharapova. Sharapova had the look, but not the game. Not the game to take them down. And she had her own level of success. And Sharapova, had great brand marketing deals, right? She
Mm-hmm.
had great brand marketing deals. Like she made a lot of money in tennis, but it wasn't necessarily about just her game. A lot of it was just that she had to look.
Mm-hmm.
Beat her once in a Grand Slam, but it never happened again. But and it was in the middle of a match. Hit Serena with the ball, and Serena looked like okay, yeah, never again. And it turned something on Serena, and that was the thing about Serena. Serena could be like down and out. You be looking
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, Serena, this is pitiful. You going out like this, and then something clicks in Serena. And she's like, yo, I'm not about to lose. I don't got to lose. Um, let's go. And you would just see her have these great comebacks. You would see her have these great comebacks. But I digress. But I think and going back to what you were saying about the ungrateful piece, right? We get to this point, especially in these sports like tennis, golf, some of the more white male and white male dominated areas, NASCAR, where you should just be grateful, where you're expected to just be grateful that you've been let into the club, even when you're dominating.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you have to almost demand the respect that you deserve, right? And these same people who hated on them are now the same ones pretending that they've been fans all along. The same ones that are trying to partner with them and make money with
Mm-hmm.
them. Y'all make it make
Exactly.
sense for me. Y'all make it make sense for me. 1 through 8 versus Serena in Grand Slams, 2 and 10 in head-to-head matches. 1 and 8. You talking about Sharapova, 1 and 8 and 2 and 10 in head-to-head matches. Y'all run them likes up for us. You knew we had kid folk in the building. Giraffe, you are just Giraffe student athlete. Let me tell you something. Giraffe came in here and said something about Boomer Sooners. And been trying to. Giraffe is determined to be in the fam. So okay, welcome Giraffe. Serena was born in Saginaw, but raised in Cali. Yes, Giraffe. Oh, and you got family in Saginaw. Okay, this is why Giraffe student athlete is like I ain't going nowhere. Cess. Okay, Giraffe, we got you in the fam. Fact, same thing. The whites will love Drip once she retires. That's the thing. Why do they always get to love us once they retire? Why do they always get to love us once we gone? What is that about?
It's
What is
called
that?
it's threat reduction. There's a threat reduction. If you're not
Mm,
actively in the sport, posing the threat, and you have left the performance arena, so to speak, part of it, then the threat has been minimized, if not neutralized. It's been
mm,
minimized. It's been stepped back. You can dial back now. You ain't got to worry about her beating you over the head. Uh,
mm, mm-hmm,
and that's the way they see it.
mm.
That's the way
Okay.
it's set up. It's like levels to different threats. Right now,
Okay.
Big Drip is at a high level threat, because of her dominance in winning these championships and proving the power establishment is, putting out a myth that's not reality. People are seeing the reality, and
Okay.
and then you got mechanisms where you can't really control it because social media, even though there's some control in social media, the way things go viral is hard for you to, put those elements on control like you did when you had print media.
Mm-hmm.
You were more so able to control things. Now you got everybody opening their mouths, and so things could get out of pocket pretty quick.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because it's like, what's the truth now? And then you got platforms everywhere. Just another fact. At one point, Sharapova was making $10 million more in endorsement money than Serena was, even though
Mm-hmm.
Serena was wiping the floor with her the majority of the time. Yeah. So I mean, like Serena spent weeks, I think, at number one in tennis rankings, but not number one in the money when
Mm-hmm.
Sharapova when Sharapova was out there. But let's talk it. Let's look at Lil. You got some info on us for their cultural impact beyond tennis, right? Now, as we start to look at, and this is them moving towards the end of their career and their impact beyond tennis.
Yeah, they went big with it. Serena went with she created a company called Serena Ventures, and
Okay.
she's investing in a lot of black owned businesses. And then Venus, she went into the athletic fashion business with Elvin. These women are building wealth and creating opportunities, inspiring the next generation. When Serena retired 3 years ago, she had 23 Grand Slams and 4 Olympic medals, and her prize earning money was $95 million. However, Forbes ranked her number 97 as an American self-made woman with a current net worth of $340 million. Now, that's 3 times the money she made playing tennis.
Mm-hmm. Look at the power of that brand.
Right, and she started with that Puma deal in 1999. That's when she got her first $13 million for the 6 tournaments representing them. And then when she jumped to Nike in 2003, they paid her $55 million. You know,
yeah, I think. Listen, they broke barriers and broke the bank. You hear me? They broke the bank with some of these deals they got.
You know, now
44 straight weeks at number 1. Yes.
Yeah, she got endorsement deals with Disney, Ford, you know, Gatorade, Michelob Ultra, Gucci. You know, but her investment portfolio is what's impressive. You know, she was able to start a capital investment fund. And
let me say this too. This is what Serena did outside of her husband. Okay,
right?
Because I hear people like, oh well, she married the Reddit dude. I'm not talking about the Reddit dude money. I'm talking about Serena and Serena's money. Okay, I'm not talking about the Reddit dude money. He got money, and as a group, as a couple, they powerful. They got commas and dollar signs in they bank. But what I'm talking about right now is what Serena built with her money. What Serena built. This is Serena's money.
Right. She's invested in over like 85 companies, and mostly privately owned companies, what they call unicorn businesses. But she also has investments in Google, Facebook, Noom, and Masterclass. You know, that's an education platform. But a person that's a master at their skill is the one that's actually teaching. And she has her own tennis course on there as well. And then she had a big investment in a plant-based a company called Impossible Foods. And of course she invested in Tonal, but I understand that there was some some evaluation loss with that Tonal thing. But now she's over here in the sports arena. You know,
yes she is.
Her and her sister had already had minority stakes in the Miami Dolphins, but now she's invested in the TGL golf club. And then she's recently invested in the Tempo, the newest WNBA team out of Canada.
Right.
But even beyond that, she's in 2021 she did her first children's book, and it was a story about her daughter and a Quay dial that Venus created in 2018, and that has really blown up. She has a mass 353,000 followers on Instagram. And then she got 25,000 followers on Twitter and more than 3.2 million followers on TikTok, you know, surrounding that book. And then, of course, you know the story of King Richard was her production under her company, 926, which is her birthday, production company. And she's also now a partner in Win Beauty. So she is really doing, you know, some miraculous things.
Big business. Big business. Big business. And let's talk about how they changed the image of Black women in sports. People don't like to talk about it, but this is what we're here for. I'm always here for the conversation. Being dark skinned, muscular, rocking beads in the hair, and they made it beautiful. Look at the new generation: Coco Gauff, Naomi Osaka, Frances Tiafoe, all inspired by the Williams sisters. And there are more, Sloane Stephens, probably other names that I'm forgetting. And probably and I'm sure that there are a number of, and it would be interesting to do some research on this, but non-Black followers and players that they've inspired, just from who they are, right? Like we look at it from just like because it's so important for young Black girls to be able to see faces in spaces. Faces that look like them in spaces. Yeah, Madison Keys. That they don't know.
Coco Gauff. Look how big she's become.
Involved. Oh man, Coco's killing right now. Coco's the one. Coco took the blueprint and was like, watch this. Right? So like to me, Coco, you know, if you look at it like to me, Venus and Serena, for lack of a better comparison, had like that Michael Jordan blueprint to tennis. Right, to Black women in tennis. And now Coco Gauff has been able to take that blueprint, kind of like what Allen Iverson and LeBron were able to do with Michael's blueprint, and take it to the next level. right now.
Mm-hmm.
What did Coco make? $25 million this year?
Yeah, off the court.
25, just I mean, not even on at tennis, you know what I mean, just 25 million extra dollars from not playing tennis. So I just think I think that's awesome. It was some other, I know there's some other things that you had wanted to share, Lil. Did we get through all of those? I know there
No,
was other.
Venus. Let's talk about Venus, her
Okay,
sister,
yeah.
and her
Mm-hmm.
business ventures. Of course, everyone knows about the Elvin active sportwear that
Mm-hmm.
she put together. But then she had a residential interior design firm called V Star, and then she did a plant based protein company, Happy Viking, and then she's got an app called Palazzo, which is a AI interior design app. She
Mm-hmm.
co-founded that with some tech investors, and then Astura uh, she's the chief brand officer at that health brand, and then she
Mm-hmm.
did Topspin Consumer Partners, and that's a joint venture with a private equity firm, Topspin Consumer Partners, and she's a partner in that. And then she did WeWord, and that's an app to promote a healthier world through walking.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a charity attached to that called Care, where she donates 25,000 a year to them. And then she has some groundbreaking investments and endorsements also. She started off with Reebok at 15. And that was a $12 million 5-year contract. And she later uh, re-upped on that deal in 2000 for 40 million. But of course,
Mm-hmm.
she's since left Reebok to form her own Elvin company. But
Yeah, but
she's also
Reebok was a big deal. Like
yeah,
Reebok was a big deal because that was the first. I think she was the first female
she
to
was the
get a
first
million
female
dollar deal.
athlete. Yeah.
To get $1 million deal. So that was a big deal. And a lot of the stuff that she does around the health stuff has to do with her autoimmune disease, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if people realize that Serena, the baby sister did surpass Venus, right? And we expected that. I think Venus expected that, and I love the way that I love the way that Venus opened the door for Serena, right? Because she
Mm-hmm.
opened the door, and we never, as much as they tried to make it like it's Venus. Is Venus jealous of Serena? Is it they tried to pit them against each other? Venus never allowed for that. That was always her baby sister. She always held the door open for her, and she always celebrated her for the growth. Like even when she took off and surpassed Venus, you could see Venus looking just like a proud mom, a proud big
Mm-hmm.
sister. Like
Yeah.
this was what you were supposed to do, and I'm so glad that they never had that ugliness. They never had that. They haven't had any falling outs. There haven't been any scandals. They haven't been able to be like Venus and Serena. Rah. I'm so glad that they never
Got to
ever
that divide
allowed.
and conquer.
Yeah, they never let them divide and conquer them, man. And then they lived their whole life in front of us. Like lost a sister, got married. Uh, they've had near death experiences. They've through all of these things, they've done it with such grace and such class. I don't even think that people really acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
how much that they've gone through. It took me to really sit back and watch Serena's 8-part series that she did with ESPN to really kind of understand a lot of the backstory of what all was going on in their life when they were um, growing this game for the world, right? Like they competed in Olympics. We had the Serena Slam. Um, they played against each other countless times. And then all of the other noise just around trying to be a professional tennis player. They did it with such class and grace. They're going to be missed. Like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that people will really reflect and understand the impact that they had until they've been out of the game for some years. And I'm not gonna hold y'all up. There's some days I still wake up and be like, man, Serena gonna make one more run. This ain't it.
Yeah, I'll be saying the same
I ain't gonna
thing.
hold y'all up. I wake up like, man, someday like Serena is Olympia old enough yet? Because if we could if we just two more, Serena, if we can get two more, but that's just selfishly, I want her to break that record. I don't think people understand how hard it is to play a professional sport with an autoimmune disease. They don't. They don't. They don't. And you'll see Serena, you'll see Venus sometimes at the beginning of tournaments, and she looks really, really good. And then, that autoimmune, it can hit her, and then she looks just totally drained, and she doesn't look like the same Venus. I don't know that people really respect what Venus has played through to continue to even just be out there playing with. It's actually like playing with the flu for most of your career. The low end of how you feel, like the worst flu that you can have, and then going out and playing tennis. Not basketball, not a team sport, by your own self for however long you got to be out there. And so you do see her have to bow out of matches from time to time. But that's the autoimmune disease. But they've given us so much great tennis. I'm so it's appreciative, and just for the Williams family, right? Because they had to basically share their daughters with us. I don't think that they get enough thanks. I don't think that there's enough call out about and celebration of what they gave us for those decades. Because what was they out there? 3 decades from the 90s till now, 4 decades. The 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now the 2020s. I mean, it's still, Venus still out there.
Yeah, she has
Venus still out there playing. So I mean, you still watch the Williams sisters old matches on YouTube. Absolute fire. Yeah, some of the best tennis I ever seen. Some of the best tennis I ever seen.
Yeah, they definitely grew the sport, and there's no question about who grew the sport of tennis. They fingerprint is all over that.
I think the impact they've had on women, especially minority women, showing that it's possible to become the best, even if you don't come from the traditional rich tennis background. Yeah, that is well. That is well. But like you said, I mean, just for the years of it, for what they've given, but just I mean, what they took, because I mean, they took it from. They took it from their competitors, right? They took it from, it was Hingis. It wasn't Hingis. What happened with Hingis? It wasn't Hingis. I don't know. MJ, tell me what you mean. What it wasn't Hingis? What? Serena and Venus carried the United States tennis for 2 decades. Oh gosh. I mean, when you look at it like that, they did. Who was better? Who was better? For 2 decades, who was better? And built brands, man. Built brands. I mean, just their entire family. Hingis didn't grow the sport of tennis. Oh gosh, don't get started. Don't get me to. No, she didn't grow the sport of tennis. I mean, could we say that Serena and Venus are the greatest American women to play tennis?
Yeah, they absolutely are the GOATs in tennis. And both of them are cultural icons. They changed the sport. They broke barriers. They made people uncomfortable, and they didn't apologize for it. And that's what makes you a, trailblazer in the sport. Even though sport went on. And of course, we had Athea Gibson, and Lord knows what she went through back in, when Jim Crow laws was in full swing.
And she had the nerve to go be a winner in golf and tennis.
Right. She beat them down in 2 sports, but they did her bad in the press as well. But Serena and Venus, anytime you can make something happen where others can enter into the sport, anytime you can produce a Coco Golf with what you laid down, then it makes you a trailblazer. So and they did it all.
So I'm gonna ask y'all a question, and don't beat me up, but I'm gonna ask you a question. And let me preface this: when Venus and Serena hit the scene, there's another young black person hitting the scene in a sport that was white dominated, that was supposed to be a trailblazer and a trendsetter and change things. His name was Tiger Woods. Did Tiger have the impact that Serena and Venus had on tennis? Did he have the same impact in golf? Do y'all think? Chris Evert was one of the main players they pumped up versus Martina. Oh yeah, she had fire. Yeah, Chrissy Everett Lloyd was something else, but
And
she
she
wasn't
was
the Williams
very,
sister.
yeah, she was something. She was very nasty, about their entry into the sport. She did a lot of
And then
little
she
underhanded stuff.
turned around and started praising them. So you think? Okay, here's the thing. Okay,
Even
this is
when she
why I
became a
wanted to ask.
commentator, she would do sneaky stuff.
So if Tiger, this is why I asked this question. Tiger, and I'm not picking on Tiger, but I want clarification because I named a whole bunch of players that I felt like came into tennis because of Venus and Serena. Where are the black players that Tiger brought to golf?
Well, he declared himself not black. So
Here we go. Here you go. I know. Here we go.
he said he was a combination of some other things, but
A combination.
yeah.
I'll never forget. It was on
Yeah.
Oprah. They said, "What did he say?" Yeah. People VCRs. People rolled back on that part on their VCR. What did he say?
I don't know of anybody that was black that he groomed to come into
And is that
tennis world to be the heir apparent or anything.
But and is that but okay? And so I guess what I'm trying to understand is that because Tiger didn't influence, or it didn't unlock all of the way for young black males to really break into golf like they could have. Was that? I think Tiger was impactful, but as far as being cultural,
he wasn't a cultural icon. I won't. He was a phenomenal golfer who did expand the game, but he wasn't a trailblazer for changing the game. Because if you look at the game today, we still not out there. We ain't even lost our caddy jobs, for Christ's sake.
And that's what I was wondering. Is it because it's just too hard to break into golf? Did Tiger need somebody else to come along with him there? Because it just seems like, I look back, I can see where like Venus and Serena are, you can see that they have tennis programs in inner cities and stuff now. You can see, some of these tennis clubs opening up and giving opportunity for children of color to be a part. But I don't see it happening in golf. But I know that Tiger's out there. Like Tiger was the man. Like I watch golf because of Tiger, but I'm not seeing. I thought that I was gonna see a lot of black men enter into the game. Now I saw like more pros. I saw more athletes that were already pros in other sports get interested in the sport. Like Steph is out there and Trick is out there and all of that. But I just didn't see the young black men that I thought I was gonna see coming into the sport and taking over. Millions of black people started golfing because of Tiger. Yeah, breaking into golf is a monster, and that's what. So there's a black golf league. I can't think of the name. If you do, let me know, Waterfall. I would like to know.
I mean, but blacks have been in golf a long time. You remember we did the series on golf.
Yeah.
I always had golf clubs and different black golf organizations. I don't think she's speaking on that level. You talking about something that's, what has he done that's going to pass the game down generationally? And
where's the young black kids from the west side of Miami that's coming to play golf? And that's what I wanted to know was like, did Tiger hit a ceiling? Did they only let Tiger go so far? Was he not able to open it all the way up, or is it still just too expensive of a sport to be able to open up like that for inner city kids?
But Cess, look what's crazy. You got Curry doing more for golf than Tiger Woods has ever done. In terms of supporting HBCUs and that's not even his sport.
And Tiger has a niece and a son that are playing in golf right now. I just like when those three young people hit the scene, and I'm talking about Venus, Serena, and Tiger, it was like, oh man, we finna own these things now. And once Tiger got hurt, I didn't see the people of color coming behind him at that level. Calvin Pete was the first pro golfer I saw on TV. Okay, so yeah, if y'all do, please, I'm and I always say my chat's better than yours. I want to learn about what the Black Golf League is. Let me know. Since he made the shot too, I don't see some crazy comments. Tiger Sons look like he is the next one. Putting out big time highlights. Yeah, Charlie, and I see Charlie and Tiger. Well, Tiger just had surgery, I think, again. But But I see Charlie and Tiger out there playing, and I expect, and that's Tiger's bloodline. But outside of his bloodline, y'all, I really just thought, like, when them three hit the scene, like, man, this is something, man. I'm gonna be watching sports all the time. You know what I'm saying? I got basketball on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We got college hoops on Saturday and golf on Sunday. I thought we was headed to something, and I also wonder, and this isn't a conversation about Tiger, but I do want to know real quick from y'all. Do you feel like off the court, his off the course incidents, as far as like with the women and all of that, slowed down the growth of golf and minorities breaking into the sport? Did that damage the good work that he had already done? If y'all have an opinion on that, I always just wonder, like, did they hold that against him, or did that keep people from letting more brothers in the sport? Like, look at him, he didn't got out here and acted a fool. Did that change the growth of minorities in that sport when he had his off the course issues? There are a lot of black college golfers, but they are not making it into the PGA and other pro golf associations. Maybe they go to live. I don't know. I'm gonna have to do some more research. But there are a ton of black college golfers, and it's like, where do they go after that? Do they just go to their regular jobs and
they're gonna have to create other leagues?
Yeah, and I guess golf is a sport that you can just continue to do after you go pro, and tennis as well. Like, you can just continue to play tennis, not on a pro level, but I just thought that we would see a outbreak of young, unapologetic youngsters, athletes in these sports. There are a lot of.
But see, he was apologetic. Tiger was not unapologetic himself.
Yeah, that's not him. No, he was apologetic.
And I believe that in itself might have stifled the growth of, for people of color really entering the sport. Because when you unapologetic and you successful, you create a lane for others. Mm-hmm. And he fought against who he really was on every level. And so he closed off the door behind him, and he's a gatekeeper, and the gate he keeping is, making sure that other people that look like him, don't have an avenue to enter the sport. That's the way I feel about him.
Wow. Okay. So his son will make it in. Tiger created space only for himself. Mm-hmm. That's what that family saying. Wow. Damn. Okay. I mean, this is why we had these conversations, because I never looked at it like that. I just kept wondering, well, when does the other people coming through the door? I keep looking. I'm like, well, Tiger came. And I'm looking like, man, so in 20 years, ain't nobody came to Charlie? Goodness gracious. I don't know. All right. But there we go. But let's talk about their enduring legacy before we get ready to get out of here.
I don't believe they'll ever be they were generational talents, and they were also generational icons. And I don't know if we're gonna see a sister act quite like that in that sport. There's starting to be some sister acts formulating in basketball, in women's basketball. Yeah. But I don't know if that's gonna happen, in the next decade or so for sisters coming in. But of course, you never know, because you don't know what's bubbling below the surface. Mm-hmm. But they were something else, and they will long be remembered.
Oh yeah.
Not for just the fight for equity and fairness, but just how gracious they were in responding to a total assault on not only their games as tennis players, but just as they assault on their persons, which was very cruel and unusual, and so it goes to show that mental toughness and what you got to have to be mentally tough is really, really important. So you just have to keep supporting them, any way we can. These young players coming up, I'm definitely a golf fan now. Coco Golf, I just love her, and I'll be supporting any young people that come behind them, even if I don't do anything but buy their T-shirts or watch their tennis matches, Or
tell somebody about them. Mm-hmm. Retweet their name, push them out. Tiger did us like Gandalf in Lord of the Rings. I never saw Lord of the Rings. But you shall not pass. I ain't got time. What? What? Oh gosh, I don't know. Somebody got married to Trump daughter or something. I don't know what Paris talking about. What's up, Paris? One love. What's good? I think that the Williams sisters were brought up to never forget where they came from and be unapologetic about knowing their worth and maximizing their ceiling. And I agree. And I think that was reflected in the movie. Even like when like they were intentional about braiding their hair and putting the beads in them. Like that was showing. That was being culturally. I don't know if I would say responsible, but just being being proud of that, being culturally conscious, proud of their culture, proud of their heritage. Plus, it just made it easy to get up for them tennis. Ain't nobody gonna be combing your hair every day. Okay, I'm just you sweating and everything out there. I'm not gonna be combing your hair every day for all these matches. It's 6 days of matches. I'll braid your hair again on Saturday. That's usually how it happened. It's not that somebody is out there just trying to make a statement, but it's easier to just tie your hair up because that's one less thing that you got to do in the morning to get up and be ready for this tennis match. But I think that's why we got to do the show today, to be able to just talk about how the next generation is taking up the mantle. And it's just the energy around sports right now is just unapologetically yourself. Whether that's Asia or Angel or Serena, Venus, Malaysia in her own way. And I think that we just have to keep giving up. We have to keep shouting those young people out and giving them their flowers while they're here to smell them. If you love what we do, y'all make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe because we are coming with more truth, more history, and more real talk. That's what we are here for. That's the purpose of the Disruptor Series. Bust downs in the sun don't work. They don't. Ain't nobody gonna be having that bust down on out there. And then you could be out there 6 hours FM with that bust down on, just running and running. Nobody got time for that. Anybody gonna be doing all that. And then bust down, go crooked and move and all that, and you jumping and going. No, braid your hair up and move on.
Got to keep too many bobby pins.
The Williams sisters will always be remembered because of the unorthodox approach to professional tennis. Who would have thought that you could? Who would have thought that you could become the greatest of all time with your daddy reading a book and watching some videos? Anything you put your mind to, young black people, you can do. Anything you put your mind to. Like I said, that man was in a bar watching the tennis game on TV at night on happenstance. And it was like, she won what? 30,000 for losing? Man, let me get home and make me one of them.
Yeah, I'm in the wrong business.
Let me get home and make me one of them. That was what he said. That's what he set out to do. People can say whatever they want to say about Richard Williams. They can put up all of the crazy looking memes that they want. But he is the epitome of if you put your mind to something. Black people do never question your excellence. Never question the ability to put your mind to something and make it happen. Never question your ability to do that. But listen, y'all. Y'all let me know what's one word that y'all use to describe the legacy of Venus and Serena Williams. Drop your answers in the chat before we go. And your favorite Venus or Serena moment. I really want to celebrate these queens the right way. Political, what you got before we get ready to get out of here?
I don't have anything else. Just we just gotta keep pushing forward, inspiring and supporting the fight for equality in all sports.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And y'all remember, the fight for equity and fairness, it doesn't end with Venus and Serena. It's something we all need to champion in our own way. Hashtag monumental. I love that. Let's keep pushing forward, stay inspired, and keep supporting the fight for equality in all sports. That's it for today's episode of Cess Talks Sports in collaboration with the BeWise PoliSports Podcast. Thank y'all for being a part of this important conversation. I know this is something that we do outside of just basketball, but this is one of my favorite parts of what I'm able to do with this platform, being able to shed light and have conversations around monumental athletes like Venus and Serena. And we're going to continue those conversations. So y'all don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, sports are never just about the game. It's about the stories we tell and the change we create. Thank y'all for tuning in. Venus, first Wimbledon win. Absolutely. And we'll see y'all next time on Cess Talks Sports and the BeWise PoliSports Podcast. Obsess your favorite Auntie with Uncle Tendencies and Political Lil, y'all.
We out.
And I see y'all in a minute. We got game cocking with Cess. Let's pregame. It's game day, baby. Let's go.